Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's Wednesday night. I'm Matthew Dickson of mindaid.ca, and we'll be talking about mental health, schizophrenia, because that's what I've got, schizophrenia. I'm doing well now, and I'm trying to help others get through it. And also mental health in developing countries. That's a cause that I fight for. I've been looking at My Ascension. I haven't seen the movie. It's the website's myascension.us. It stars Emma Benoit. She's a suicide survivor from Louisiana, and the movie's really making waves. They're hosting screenings. It's supposed to be on PBS this fall, and I'm working on getting a screening in my local area. And her messages are really hitting home with me. She also really promotes Hope Squad. It started in the States, and there are some branches of it in schools in Canada, and they've got a map. You can go on their website. But what they do is I want to learn more about it, but they help kids in schools with their peers. They handpick certain kids to become Hope Squad members, and other kids can go to them, or the Hope Squad members look out for kids who may be in trouble mentally or showing signs, that sort of thing. And they look out from it's a real peer-to-peer interaction, and it's really gaining a lot of traction. There are other groups like it, of course. I know Emma Benoit of the movie. She says that she's a real promoter of Hope Squad. So on the map, I see that they actually, I think they're in. Actually, I was looking at two maps. I shouldn't say which one is which because I'm getting them confused. Another map I was looking at was for the Friendship Bench. There's I think it's the friendshipbench.org. They're in schools as well, and there are some in Canada, and they cost. It's not for someone to sit down on if they're in crisis, like mental health crisis, but it's for to talk about mental health, to encourage people to talk about mental health. They're in schools. They're yellow. They use the campaign name yellow is for hello. Uh, Hello, sit down. Let's talk about mental health. And they're in. I think those are in 50 schools in Canada so far. There's one in my local community, and yeah, I just want to mention those two things: Hope Squad and Friendship Bench. Those are two things that are great for schools, for kids struggling with mental health issues. And I, I myself, I sort of go with sort of, I don't want to say energy, but it's just the oomph behind something. I try to promote those things. That's they're easier to get behind. I find fun to talk about, and plus they usually have a big impact. Sometimes the things I talk about don't have as much. They're not as main. They're not as don't have as much clout behind them, but I really want them to. So, like the 7 nonprofits I steer people towards at MindAid, helping people with mental illness in developing countries, they are relatively small nonprofits compared to the larger ones, such as UNICEF and World Vision and whatnot. But I want more. I want them to. I want to build their capacity. There's a lady. Speaking of that, there's a lady, Khalud Rahman, I think her name is. How you pronounce it? And she is a photographer and a writer, and she will be documenting Find Mind and the work they do this September in northern Uganda. Find Mind is one of the 7 nonprofits I steer people towards at mindaid.ca to donate. You can donate or fundraise for them, and they help people in northern Uganda. They want to spread and scale to. They want to go to other places in Africa too, but they help them get uh, better mental health. And Forrest Whitaker, the Star Wars actor, his foundation is working with them with Find Mind. Anyway, Find Mind has just posted that Khalud Rahman is going to do this work with them, and I'm so excited about that storytelling, taking photos, bringing back what's happening with people with mental health issues in Africa is huge. Excuse me, there are. I've seen photos before of that online. Some that I really like are, excuse me, Robin Hammond he's got a portfolio called Condemned. He took photos, really nice photos. I mean, obviously, of very sad situations, but I've used some of his photos on my website. And yeah, he's taken photos of people kept in chains with mental illness in developing countries. Well, his work was in Africa, but yeah, I'm looking for more good photos and videos to share and spread with people on mental health in developing countries. It's uh, it's a cause that means a lot to me, and I'd like to see more people knowing about it. Something else I'm looking into for Mind Aid is I'm looking at outdoor advertising. I thought for a while of having the Mind Aid logo and brand up on a billboard or other types of outdoor advertising. Taxi cab, the tops of taxi cabs, they have displays, and there's all sorts of outdoor advertising you can use. That comes with a cost, but I think it would be neat. I know Scott Harrison of Charity Water. He's been a real inspiration for me. He helps people get clean water in developing countries, and he was based out of New York City. He was asked, could he have had such a big impact if he wasn't based in New York? And he said, perhaps. He said it did help an awful lot. There's just so many connections there. And I've thought of putting a billboard or taxi cab displays, or you can get digital billboards, just like on a digital screen, on an actual like plastic or painting billboard, digital billboards. And they're more, these, you can get affordable advertising, taxi cabs. Some of their advertising is $30 per taxi cab for an indoor screen display inside the cab for passengers to watch. These are doable, and I'm working on getting something like that. I'm thinking New York City, following Scott Harrison's lead, just because if I could get the Mind Aid brand in behind people with influence, people with money, people with connections in New York City, that could be really beneficial for Mind Aid, for helping people donate more to it, fundraise more for it, and yeah. So I'm looking into that. There are companies that manage all that for you. They actually use a lot of high tech. They have they work with advertising agencies all over North America. All these companies, and they use more high tech algorithm, which billboard, which sign, which taxi cab, which subway station display, which would be best for demographics and your brand. And it sounds like they really have a lot of complicated algorithms that work on all this. So yeah, excited about that. If anyone wants to donate to help pay for some of those billboards, that's something I'm looking into too. I know Scott Harrison got Saks Fifth Avenue. I think it was Saks Fifth Avenue to help donate to put some of his brands on taxi cabs, so and billboards. So yeah, graphic designers, looking for them too. Anyone who wants to make some designs to put on for advertising, that would be wonderful too. For me, something that I'm trying to work on with my own mental illness, schizophrenia, is being more open. It's tough with schizophrenia. I mean, I'm doing well now. It's been a long road back, but it was hard to when I was diagnosed in '94, through the '90s into the 2000s, even a little bit today. It's People weren't open to. I always had to hide it. It was sort of this: don't let anyone know you have schizophrenia, Matthew. Try to walk normal, stand up straighter, look more confident. Try to make more sense when you speak. All these sorts of things. And I really felt like I was, for an analogy, like I was drunk and asked to walk a straight line. And walking down the street, trying to walk a straight line, everyone's saying, Matthew, you're stumbling. Try to walk a straight line. Don't let anyone know you're drunk. That's the way it felt. I'm like, I can't. I'm the equivalent of drunk, you could say. I mean, that's not the best analogy, but It was hard. I always felt like I looked different and talked and walked different, and it was tough. But so I always felt like I had to hide it. I couldn't be open and transparent and say, look, people, this is what I'm going through. And you look back on it, and, I think of my community where I spent a lot of time, and, you think back in the 90s, why couldn't people have said, well, wow, Matthew's here, and some of us know he has schizophrenia. Why can't we just say, look, guys, we know you've got schizophrenia, Matthew. It's okay. It's okay to be how you are. It's okay. Maybe you don't want to talk about it. Maybe, I mean, we don't have to talk about it all the time, but we're just here for you. We know you don't have to hide it from us. It's okay. It's okay to have that and walk around town, because it sort of gave me this fear of, uh, uh, it's not the best analogy again, but it's like the Holocaust. It's like being, like hiding people who are Jewish. The Germans doing that. The Germans, you could get in huge trouble for for hiding someone who's Jewish in your house. And I just felt like uh, I had to walk down the street and hide the fact that I was schizophrenic, and always hide it. Don't let anyone know. And I didn't like it. Plus, being sick with the disease, where it affects your cognitive skills, your ability to think clearly, it's just one more thing to try to that you have to think about, and because you can't think straight, it was hard. It's just another complicated thing I had to try to work through, and my mind just went round and round in circles on it. So it's sort of like a double-edged sword. And so I'm trying to, as I've come out of my cloudy thinking all those years, I'm trying to think more clearly about this and be more open and transparent about, look, it's okay. It's okay to have schizophrenia. It's okay. It's not your fault. It's Things happen, bad things happen to good people, and it's just the way life is for some strange reason. And it's okay. I'd like more people to say, is there anyone you know who has schizophrenia? Can you say to them, look, Matthew, I know you've got schizophrenia. It's okay. It's okay. Can you tell more people that? And it's okay. You don't have to hide it from me. I know it would be great if all of us said this and we didn't have to hide it. So I'm saying this because I've just spent so many years monitoring what I think, and pausing before I say something, and trying to always cover up the fact that I'm not thinking as straight as I'd like to. And yeah, it's when you get a clear head and more confidence like I'm getting now, it makes it so much easier to stand up for yourself and for other people. My confidence grows daily, weekly, monthly, and I'm it's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous why we can't talk about schizophrenia. And there are other mental health issues too that are still swept under the rug more than they should be. There's a lot of mental health that's out in the open. Depression and anxiety. There's lots that are very mainstream now, thanks to COVID, and thanks to work of many mental health organizations, especially over the last decade or so. In Canada in 2010, the Bell Let's Talk campaign came out for the first time, which was huge, getting people talking about mental health. And I just want more people to. I'd like to. I'd like people with schizophrenia across Canada and other countries to be able to walk down the street and know that, yes, they may not feel like they want to talk or walk like they want to, and know that everyone else knows it's okay for them to be like that. It's Instead of trying to hide it, trying to say, like trying to walk down, people telling you walk down the street like, Matthew, don't let anyone know you've got this. And it's confusing. When you're confused, it's just an extra layer of confusion. I'm thinking, geez, if someone knows I'm schizophrenic walking down the street, what's going to happen? What are going to people think? Are someone going to call the cops? say this guy's a serial killer sort of thing. It's confusing. Your mind just goes round and round in circles instead of just saying, look, Matthew's left-handed or right-handed, or he wears glasses, and it's okay. It's okay to walk down the street and wear glasses. It's not like you have to put a pair of glasses on your head where no one else is wearing them, or very few, and people think you're a serial killer because you wear glasses. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. People with schizophrenia are no more prone to violence than the rest of the general population. And I wish more people knew that stat. I wish that stat was mainstream. And I'm trying to make that happen by talking about it. If you want to share that stat anywhere, I would love that. And millions of other people with schizophrenia who are hiding today and thinking, what if someone thinks I'm a serial killer for no reason? Just like, what if someone knows I wear glasses? And yes, some people with schizophrenia are violent, but so are people who don't have schizophrenia or mental illness. The natural rate of violence in the general population is 2%. It's the same for people with schizophrenia, 2%. It's some stats say 1 in 5,000 in the general population and 1 in 5,000 in people with schizophrenia. That's what the Saskatchewan Schizophrenia Society says. I think it's 1 in 5,000. Maybe it was 1 in 500. I've forgotten right at the moment now, but they tout that number a lot. It's just the way, I believe it's just the way you define violence. Violence is a very difficult term to describe, actually. I mean, it goes from murders right down to kicking, biting, scratching, fights in pubs, psychological violence. It's actually a complicated thing to define. But I would love just to make schizophrenia say, look, it's okay. You got schizophrenia? So what? So what? It's not a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal to go through, but the fact that you've got it, it's not a big deal for us. No, we know you've got schizophrenia. That's fine. Yeah, you don't have to hide it. No hiding here. Wouldn't that be nice? Anyway, the more conversations we have about that, the more chances that's going to happen. I've got schizophrenia. I do. Raise my hand. I do. I'm walking down the street. I've got schizophrenia. So what? So what? How can we help you, Matthew? How can we help you get through this disease? What can we do for you? I'm curious, Matthew. I'm curious. What do you do? What's it like to have this disease? How can I help? Ask questions. Be curious. I could talk about schizophrenia for a long time. Ask me questions. Don't be afraid about it. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I don't mind. I want to talk about it. And it's not this big scary thing that you have to be frightened to talk about. Ask me questions. I don't mind talking about it. From the very beginning of my disease, I felt like it was just like symptoms. I mean, everyone has stuff they don't want to talk about, but to me, I just treated it like my symptoms. Like, I want to talk about my symptoms. Like when you go with cancer to the doctor, they want to talk about your symptoms. They try to pinpoint, where does it hurt? Or if you go with a broken leg or a rash or who knows what, where does it hurt? Where does it hurt? What are your symptoms? How do you feel? What kind of pain is it? What's going on? How are you? What is it? And that's the way I wanted to talk about my mental illness was, what's it like? What are your symptoms? I talk about my symptoms, even the fact that I was on suicide watch, and I never attempted, but I was very close. And I have no problems talking about what it was like feeling that way when you're thinking you might end your life. I've never had any problems talking about that. It's I can run that off like nothing because I just always looked at it as a symptom. It's not this deep dark secret that it's that people don't want to talk about or were afraid to talk to you about. It's just a symptom. That's the way I've always looked at it. Ask me questions. I'll talk about it. I have no problems. Anyway, I have. I want to leave it at this. If you're going through mental illness today, Please hang in there. Please hang in there. I know you're doing the best you can. I don't know you, but I want to tell you, I know you're doing the best you can. Hang in there. Life is wonderful. When you get out on the other side, there's so much beauty in life. I went for a walk yesterday, and it was so nice just to hear birds singing, the leaves rustling in the trees, those things I could not enjoy for so many years. Could not enjoy. And now I can. I can. It took a long time, and who knows how long your recovery is going to take. It could take sooner than you think. It may take a while. It could just disappear. I know one person who said they had it just disappeared one day. Another lady I know, she her postpartum depression just stopped just one day. She remembers the moment it stopped, not the day, the moment. She said she was standing at the kitchen counter and it just stopped. Mine stopped. My schizophrenia symptoms stopped February 11th, 2021. They just stopped. It's possible. You can keep going. Navy SEALs are taught they are capable of 20 times more than they think they are. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Keep holding on minute by minute. It's possible to get through mental illness. It's possible to get out and enjoy life and have a great life. It's possible to have a great life. So many people have gone through mental illness before, come out the other side, and are living great lives. Millions of people have done that. Millions, millions. You are not alone. Why can't you be one of those millions? Why not? Keep going. Things happen. You don't know. There's so many things that are going to happen tomorrow all over the world. Whether you have mental illness or not, there are so many things. Millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of things are going to happen tomorrow that we don't know. Tomorrow is a blank slate. No idea. No idea what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't either. And I know it's so tough with mental illness to not know what's going to happen. The unknown is terrifying. There's another good part of unknown that you may not be able to see with mental illness. It was really hard for me to see. There's another part of the unknown that is just wonderful. There's so many good things that are going to happen tomorrow. So many good things. So many smiles, so many good moments. People around the world, millions of people are going to have a smile on their face tomorrow. Millions. They're going to have a smile on their face for some reason or another at some point during the day. So many good things will happen. Things that every day things happen that you didn't know were going to happen. And I know for me it was like Groundhog Day. Every day was the same boring day over and over and over. But at the same time, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. As boring and mundane and horrible as mental illness is day after day, slogging through, there are things that are going to happen tomorrow that you don't know, that can help you, fight for another moment, fight for another hour, fight for another day. They're there. Mental illness cuts you off from seeing those, and I'm trying to remind you here that they exist. They do. They exist, and they're going to happen every day. They happen without fail. 365 days a year. They've been happening for millions of years, and they will keep happening for millions of years. And so keep fighting. Keep fighting. Life is so worth it. You are a masterpiece. There are so many things happening in your body right now beyond your control. There's blood flowing through your veins. There are neurons firing in your brain. There's skin cells repairing each other. The list is endless. There's atoms and protons and neutrons orbiting around each other in you, billions upon billions of them. There's cells are regenerating like crazy in you all the time. So many things going on. So many things. And it is a miracle that happens in you every single day. It's an absolute miracle. Your body is precious, and I want you to keep fighting so that you can feel that preciousness. If preciousness is a word, I want you to feel that joy, that miracle that is you. You are a miracle. It's just, you're absolutely precious. Keep fighting. Keep fighting. Promise me you'll keep fighting. Promise me right now you'll keep fighting. Thanks, guys.